So you open a blank spreadsheet, you want to type in your data, all you need to do is click on a cell and begin to type. For instance, let's create a Tesco. So we're going to Tesco with buying onions. And to move from one cell to the other, you just press enter, and then it takes you to the cell under. If you look at it, these are called cells, and they have addresses in Excel. So the cell I'm currently on is B3. So you can see the address of the cell here in B3. So it's the combination of the letters here and the numbers by the side. So the letters are the columns and the numbers are the rows. So it just combines the column and the row. So we're just creating a list, just a simple list. We're going to Tesco to buy groceries. We'll put price here so that we can do some simple calculations. So onions cost £3. We have tomatoes, £6. We have bread, another £6. Milk, £2, and some peppers, which is £1. So that's how you enter data. So all you need to do is click on the cell, type in, and when you want to move to the next cell, you can either press enter or click on the cell you want to type in. You can type on any cell just by clicking on the cell and typing into it. So we have a basic list of things we want to buy in Tesco. The main advantages of Excel is that you can analyze data, you can arrange data, you can do so many things with Excel that you cannot do with like a Word. So for instance, we've created this list and want to know how much we need to owe to Tesco. We just want to do a basic sum of this. So I want to sum in C7, that's my cell C7, that's where I want the sum to be. There are things you can do. You can, if you go here, there's this auto sum. If I click on auto sum, you can see that once I hover on it, it shows me what is going to happen. So if I click on it, it just adds, you will see that it's shown sum C2 to C6. So it's telling me that it's going to sum all the cells between C2 and C6. And once I press enter, I have the sum. So I know how much this is going to cost in total. So that is just simple addition in Excel. There are other ways to do this addition, which we'll do this later when we get to the calculation. Well, you can actually click on the cell one by one and do a simple addition, but that is obviously longer. So this is the best way to do it. But if you want to do it in another way, for instance, you don't want to sum everything, you just want to know the sum of onion and bread. So to enter a formula, you have to start with equal to. When you put an equal to sign, you're telling Excel that you're about to input a formula. So you will wait for the formula. Then I can just click on onion, the price of onion, which is C2, and I want to add it to the price of bread because I just want to know the cost of onions and bread. And all I need to do is put a plus sign and click on the price of bread, and I get the price of the onion and bread. If I want to know the price of onion and pepper, for instance, I already have this formula for onion and bread, which is C2 plus C4. I can move this formula around. I can move it to different cells to achieve what I want. So I want to know, instead of onion and bread, which is C2 and C4, I want to know the price of tomatoes and milk. I can just click on this formula bar, and you can see that I have some highlights here. So C2 is highlighted. This highlight to another cell. The way to move it is when you hover on it, can you see this cross changing? So it's changing. This is like a block, and then it changes to like arrows facing the 4 directions. Once it changes to that, you can actually use that to drag that selection to another cell. So once it changes to that, you just hold your left mouse down. Let me do that again. So you hold the mouse down and drag it. If you can see, it is dragging from one cell to the other. So in this case, I want to know the price of tomatoes and milk. So I've literally moved the selection from onions to tomatoes, and I want to move the one on bread to milk, and then press enter, and then that changes. We'll get to formulas later. So let's look at the bars on Excel. So you've opened a new spreadsheet, you have your shopping list on it, and I'll delete this one, and we have the sum of what we need. You can use this box here. Let's start. The first box here is a clipboard. So if you want to copy this data and you want to put it on another spreadsheet, all you need to do is select. And the way to select is you click on a cell, hold your left mouse down, and just drag it over the areas you want to select. So when I do that, I've selected that. I can select this bit if that's what I want. I can select everything. So in this case, if you select everything, you want to copy this and put it somewhere else on the spreadsheet. So this, if you look at this button here, when you hover on it, it says Ctrl+C, copy. So this is what you use to copy. So if I click on this, what it does is it will copy this data on a clipboard, ready for me to paste somewhere else. And this is my paste button here. This is my paste button. So it says paste. So I can click on any cell. In this case, I want to move it to G1. All I need to do is click on G1 and click on my paste button. And then it copies everything I have here. If I change my mind, I don't want to do that. I want to reverse the last thing I did. I have the undo button here, which I can click, and the last thing I did will disappear. There is another button here. It looks like a scissors. It's a cut button. What it does is, instead of copying from here, somewhere else. So if we try that this time around, I'm going to select this. I'm going to cut this and put it back on G1, paste. So what happens is it will disappear from where and it will move it to the new place. So that's a difference cutting and copying. I'll just undo that and move it back. This box here is to change the font. To change the font, if you select what you're changing, so you have different fonts, and you can see when you hover on it, you see what your text will look like. Let me copy this. Let me move this somewhere else. Another way to copy is you can actually select it. When your cross changes to this, you can literally drag it anywhere. So that's another way to cut and paste. To change the font, if you click on this button here, you can pick any one you like. Like if you're like doing like a presentation or something and you want it to look nice and pretty, you can pick any one of these fonts and you see the text changing. So you don't really have to actually click on it before you see what it will look like. You will see it changing. And also, if you want to make it bigger, you can increase the size here, and you can see it changing. This button here will make it bold. So if you click on this, it becomes bold. You're going to reverse that. If you want to put it in italics, that's the button to use, and that goes to italics. If you want to underline, for instance, I want to underline Tesco. If you click on this, that will underline Tesco. I'm just undoing what I've done now. And I just undid what I did just now. But if I want to do it again, so I've done some things. So it's now in bold and in italics. I can undo. So I've taken it back to bold. If I want it back in italics, I can redo it. So there's this button here, redo. So it will tell you what you're about to redo. So you will just redo the last thing you undid. So that's your undo button, and that is your redo button up there. So these are your formatting buttons. If I want to color this, I want to put different colors on this. This is my fill button, and what it does is it will fill it depending on the color I pick. So I'm making onions green, making tomatoes blue, I'm making bread deep yellow, making milk gray. So it will just any color you like, you can just pick and it changes. And that is the fill. So this is the fill button. So it fills it with color. This is a font color. So if you want to change the font color, so for instance, maybe Tesco and Price, the default is black. If I want to change it to like dark green, it changes the text color to dark green. And you can literally pick any color you want. So that's changing it to red. You can also expand this button to get a dialog box. So that is the dialog box, and this is just giving you more options. So what we've just done is the font, color, and the fill. So we did the fill. So you have the shortcut buttons here, but if you wanted the bolder, you want more, you can open the box. This is a number format. So for instance, look at my prices. I can change this, I can format these prices to, I'll just cancel it and select what I want. So if I want to format these prices, I want to put pounds in them. I can just click on currency here, and I want pounds. It will show you what it will look like. That's my sample. And OK, and then it changes it. Put a pound and changes it with 2 decimal places. Let's go back to that. If we want to change, like when we change the font, you can change the font here, and you have the preview box here that will show you what it will change to. If you want to, and then, yeah, this is the font. If you want it in bold, you can change it here. If you want to change the font size, it's in this box here. If you want to put a strike through, so there are other effects you can put. If you click on strike through, you can see that there is a strike through on the text. You can make it superscript or subscript. So I'll take off the strike through. So if, for instance, okay, we're not buying onions anymore, let's strike it out. So that is it. The other things we can do here, this button is easy alignment. It just shows you, it just helps you to align the text within the cell. So for instance, this is the general one. So if I want to like move tomatoes a bit to the right, I can pick the right indent. if I click OK, if you notice, the tomatoes moved a bit to the right, but if I expand the column, then you see that it's actually aligned to the right. And these are what these buttons are for. So these are the shortcuts to that. So this is, if you click on this, it will align it to the top. I'll just make this cell a little bit bigger so we can see the effect of these shortcut buttons. So if I click on this, it aligns to the top. The middle one takes it to the middle. This takes it down. This aligns it to the left. This will center it. This will align it to the right. And this is better for when you have different tests there. If I want to wrap the text, for instance, if I type a long word, I am going shopping in Tesco. So I have this long word. I want it to fit within a cell. This button is called the wrap test. So if I click on this, then it fits it within that cell. If I click again, it doesn't fit within the cell. So you can click and click again to undo what you've done. And that is the wrap and test. It's usually useful when you have like a long word and you want to like say it and you don't want it to like stretch across the screen. And merge and center is if you have like different, you can merge like 2 or 3 cells together. When you merge it, it changes to like one cell. So when you type anything, it's just across those cells. So that's the merge and center, and it's all in this. When you open the dialog box, it takes you back to the format cells. So it's they're all formatting tools. If you look at this box here, you've got the shortcuts for number formatting. So it says number here. So this is font, this is alignment, this is number. So number, there's this button, you have like currency, some coins and notes there. So you can actually use this to change the currency. So if you click on that down arrow, you can actually change that. If I click on dollars, this will change dollars. And I can click on euro, and that changes to the euro sign. It's actually quite useful for the euro, because sometimes you can't find that euro sign on the keyboard. If you want to make it a percentage, you can just select the number and click on this, and it turns it to a percentage. I'll undo that. You want to put a comma. If it's like, if I type like 1000, I want to put a comma here. I can just click on this comma and it will format it. If I just want 1000, I don't want the extra zeros, the decimal point. All I need to do to reduce the zero, this will decrease decimal. I just need to click on it. So if you click once, it reduces 1 decimal place. If you click another time, it will reduce another one. So it depends on the number of decimal places you have, and that would continue to reduce it. So I'll click again, and it takes off the decimal. If I want to add decimal places on the other hand, I need to click on this one, and this will increase the decimal place. So if I click on it once, it adds 1 decimal place to your figure. Click again, adds another decimal place. And if I click again, it will continue to add 1 decimal place. These are your styles. These are your table styles. So conditional formatting, sometimes you need to like highlight, analyze your data. So you want to like see if you have duplicate data. You want to, you want to analyze data. You want maybe numbers greater than a particular amount, or numbers less than a particular amount, or numbers equal to. So you use the conditional formatting. We won't go into that today. We can format as a table. So there are advantages to formatting as a table as against having just regular text. So to format as a table, I'm just going to, I'll just make this regular. There was a button I didn't show you here. This button here is a format painter. So what it does is, it works like a like copy and paste, but what it copies is the format. So for instance, this pepper we formatted, we filled it yellow, and tomatoes is in blue, and the alignment is different, and the currency is different. So I want to change this tomatoes and €6 back to, I want it to look like the pepper. So I can just copy the format of the pepper and paste on the tomatoes. So what I do is, you select the data you want to copy the format of, you click on this button, it looks like a paintbrush. So what it's doing is like it's painting the format. So if I click on it, and when you move your arrow, your cross, you can see that there's that brush. So it has a brush on it. And once I click it on where I want to paint it on, can you see that the tomatoes has changed and it's now looking like this pepper? I will do that again. So I'll use my undo button. So I'll select the pepper, click on the format printer, and select my tomatoes, and it changes. And that is really useful, you know, when you have a lot of data and you don't want to like change the font, change the size, change the color all over again. You can just paint a format and paste it. You can paste it as many times as you like. If I'm going to undo this, if I want to paste this on different cells, for instance, if I select the pepper, if I want to paint it on different cells, all I need to do is, when you double click, you have that paintbrush, and I can continue to paste that on different cells because the paintbrush is still attached to it. So you can do that as many times as I want. And when I don't need that anymore, all I need to do is either click on that button again or press the escape button, and then the brush disappears. So if you want to do it on different cells, you have to double click. If it's just one cell that you want to place it on, you can just click once, and then it allows you to do it just once. So format as a table, let's change it to a table. If we select the data, so we have different tables here. Let's look at this. So that's the data for my table. Now let me pick something that will show better. Now, I think I'll just change the color back to, I'll take off the yellow fill. And the way to do it is, you select it and you can just go to the fill button and new fill, and it takes off the yellow fill. And then we have this as a table. So this is formatting as a table. So this table, we can insert extra columns, we can insert rows. So for instance, I'm just going to move it. I'm going to move it to the corner here. So what I'm doing, I want to move this here. So, oh, okay. So I had a merge cell here, which I did when I was showing the merge and center, and it won't let me paste on it because it's still merged. So all I need to do is unmerge that, and that is fine. So literally all these buttons, you know, when you click them once and you want to reverse what you've done, then you can sometimes click them again and then you reverse it, what you have done. So this, if you want to insert a column, for instance, between Tesco and price, I want to I want to insert a column for maybe the quantity of the items. I don't want to put it beside here. I want to put it between Tesco and the price. You can select a column by clicking on the letters. So to select a column, you click on the letters, and to select a row, you click on the numbers. So when you click on the numbers, you can actually select a row. So to select row 2, I just click on 2, and the whole row is selected. So if I want to insert a column between B and C, I would select C by clicking on that column C. I'll click on column C. I'll right click, so I'll press my right mouse button. And if you're using a laptop, you know where your right mouse is. But if you're an Excel user, I would strongly suggest that you get a mouse attached to your laptop because it's so much easier. So if you right click, and then you have some options, you have a dialog box open. So you might either want to cut, which is the same as this cut button here. You might want to copy that column that you selected. In this case, we want to insert, which is this one here. We might want to delete that column. We might want to clear the contents. We might want to format cell, in which case it comes up with the format dialog box. We might want to change the width of the column. We can also hide this column and unhide. So let's start from the first one. So this is insert. So we've inserted a new column here. And this column, I want it to be quantity. So I want 5 bags of onions. I want 7 packs of tomatoes. I want 2 loaves of bread. I want 4 bottles of milk and 5 peppers. So I've inserted a column. If you want to insert a row, it's the same thing. You select the row, right click, and insert the row. So in this case, we've already did it. Did I insert something? Okay, so right click, insert, and that is a row. So I just remember that I need to buy something else apart from onions. So we need, what do we need? Juice. And I need 5 juice that cost £7. If you notice that the price we have here was £18 before, I'm just going to undo the £7 for juice. But once you put that figure here, your sum will change. It will automatically change. That's because your formula covers the table. So as long as you insert in this table, this formula will continue to cover that table. One other thing we can do, if we right click, so I can decide to delete this quantity, so we don't need it anymore. If we delete that, then the quantity goes. That column is gone. But undo that now. You can right click. I want the column, but I want to clear the content. So if you do clear content, then the data disappears. I will undo that. I might want to format cells. I might want to like shrink to fit or do the alignment. If I want to hide this column, even though I want the column there, but I don't want to see it on the face of it, I'll right click, I'll hide it. If you notice, we have A, B, and D. You can see that C is hiding there. Now that's because I just want to see this, but I still want that column there, but I just don't want to see it right now. And if you want to unhide it, you select B and D, you right click, and you unhide, and it's back in. So to hide, right click, hide. To unhide, another way to unhide is, if you hover on that small bit between B and D, your cursor changes to this. So you can actually hold it down, hold your left mouse down, and just drag it, and you can just expand and open up the column C. So that's another way to do it. This cell there, we can insert cells. So if I click on here and I want to insert cell, if you notice, when I click on the cell, the box it brings out is different to when I select the column. So it will only bring out the dialog box you can use when you select the column. When you select a cell, it brings out more things. There are more things I can do when I select a cell, when I right click on a cell. So if I want to insert, and I want to insert table column to the left, then insert another column to the left. I'll undo that. If I right click, I want to insert table rows above. You will insert a row above the onion. So that is another way to insert row and columns on a table. So the other things, you can select entire table. You can select. So to select an entire table, all you need to do is click on the first one, hold your mouse down until and drag it across. If it's a large table and you don't want to hold your mouse down and keep dragging, you can simply use your control button, control shift, and press your arrow down, and then it selects everything. So if you select the top row, hold your shift and control button and your down arrow button on your keyboard, and then you can select that. So that's another way to select. Another way to select is you can press your control button and A. So control A will select everything. So there are also shortcuts to a lot of these buttons, like the copy. If you want to copy, so we can do control A, we'll select everything. We want to copy this. If you click on control C, you can see that the borders have changed. So that is copied everything. And we want to paste somewhere else, we can use control V. So there are shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts to these buttons as well that we can use. I will just undo that now. And if we want our data to look nice, we can put borders on them. So this button here is the border button. You can put an outside border. You can put this type of border. So there are different borders you can put depending on what you're doing. Like my sum here, I can put this top and bottom border there, but it's not really showing because it's a table. Let's see what else we can do. So from here, so that's the auto sum button. That's what we use for the sum here. There is a filter button. So for instance, we've made a shopping list. Because we formatted as a table, it's already put filters in for us. But to put filters in, we can use this button and filter. So that's taking the filter off. So filter, what filter does is it will give you these arrows on your headings, and you can use that to sort the data. You can use it to select the data. So for instance, I want to sort this according to, let me take off the total for now, how expensive, how much these things are. So if you click on this, you can sort, I want to sort largest to smallest. So if you click on sort largest to smallest, juice is the largest and pepper is the smallest. And you can sort it the other way around as well. Sort smallest to largest, and then you can sort it. You can sort by quantity. So if I want to sort largest to smallest, so tomatoes, I have 7 types of tomatoes. For this one, these are not numbers, so you can sort in alphabetical order. So if I want to sort A to Z, bread starts, I can sort Z to A. or I can sort by color if you color them. And you can also use this to like filter. So I only want to see onions and pepper. I can just do it. I'll unselect all. I just want onions and pepper. If I click OK, then the other ones will be hidden. So I only have peppers and onions. So I'm going to select, and you want to select all to see everything. So that is everything. See what else we have on the basic. Okay, let's do print. So if we want to print this, you've done your spreadsheet and you want to print this, the first thing you want to know is, because it's so large, you don't know if it will fit into like an A4 or like an A3 or what it will look like. So there are some buttons here on the display settings. The third one here, it says page break preview. If you click on this, it shows you what the page layout is. It shows you what is going to print and how many pages you have. You can see it says page 1 on it. So you can actually use this to adjust the size of your page. So for instance, I don't want a column A to print. I can just drag this, and this is what is going to print. And you want to print this, you can go to File, Print, and then you see what your data will look like. You can adjust the setting on this print page. And if you don't want it, this is a regular portrait print. You want it to be landscape, you can change it to landscape, and then you know that when you print it out, it's going to be in landscape. If you can pick your paper size here. Sometimes you might want to print on A3 or smaller. If you can go to your margins. So if you go to custom margins, this is more useful for like a big spreadsheet. So this is 100%. You can adjust the size you can reduce it or you can increase it, and that will determine how your print will look. So I'm adjusting to 150 because I want it bigger. So if I click OK, then it is bigger when I print it. And when you reduce it, maybe you have a large spreadsheet and you want it to fit on like one page. You want it to fit like on like one page, you go to your custom margin, you go to page, and you can actually fit it. So this is fit to 1 page wide by 1 page tall. So if you want it to fit to like 1 page wide and 2 pages tall, you can adjust it here. You can adjust your margins here, which would be the allowance you want for your top, for the left, for the right, and for the bottom. And if you have header and footer, you can adjust it here. If you want your print to have grid lines, you can click grid lines here, and when it comes out, you can actually see the Excel lines on your print out. So I would cancel this one. So we'll go back to yeah. No, cancel. I'm not. So I'll just go back. So that's the print preview. And I'll go back to the normal, which is the first one here. You can also choose your page layout from here on the page layout tab. So you can do the margins here. So you can change the margin here. Instead of going to the print, the file and print, you can change your orientation here. So you can change it to portrait or landscape. You can change the size of your spread. You can pick the size of your paper. The print area. So you can set up, clear your print area. For instance, I might want like something bigger to print. So to set print area, you need to select what you want, the area you want. If you select the area you want, if you click on print area, set print area, and then that is the area that would print. So you can see that I've added one more column to this, and you can adjust it back by dragging it or changing your print area. if you want, these are for breaks. So if you want page break between, if you have like a large spreadsheet and you want to put page breaks, then you can use that. This is the formula tab. So this is where all your formulas are. If you the auto sum, we have a shortcut on the home button, but we can use this to add these numbers together. So if we click on auto sum, then you just put the sum there. There are other functions here that we can use. We have the lookup and reference, which is where you do your lookups and your match and index. We'll touch on that next week. There are so many functions here. These are all, things you can use to analyze your data. And we can define names. So instead of this cell, which is 7, which is C3, we can actually name that cell something else, and it's using formulas as well. So under the data, we can filter, which is this button here. So we already have a filter on. If I want to take off this filter, I can click on filter, and it takes off the filter. And I want to filter it, I click on it again, and then it filters. If we select a few, milk and onions, for instance, I can either clear the filter from here, or I can clear the filter from here. So I can clear this filter from there. And text to columns is used to like split columns into, split like a particular cell into different columns. We'll look into that next week. On the review, we can use the review, like for instance, there was a time I didn't even know that there was, you could review, you could check spelling on Excel. I thought it was just a word, but you can actually check, you can spell check on Excel. So for instance, let's type something. So I want to do a spelling check. So I go to review, I click on spelling, and it's going to suggest the right spelling. So this shopping is wrong. I can change it here. And here I want to type store, so I can easily change it and change. And then it asks me if I want to continue. Let's continue, let's see. And it checked everything, and it says I'm good to go. So the spell check is complete. So you can actually check your spelling on Excel. Okay. If, for instance, you have this spreadsheet and it's shared among different people, and you don't want anyone to change what you have typed in here, you can protect it. So there are some buttons here that you can use to protect the spreadsheet. So for instance, if you want to, this is tomatoes, I don't want anyone to change this cell, this tomato cell. If I click on tomatoes, I want to protect this sheet. So I don't want anyone to change anything on this sheet. You have to put a password to protect it. So password, let's see, test code for today. Okay. Test code. Did I type that right? No. Password is my identical. Test code. And okay. Enter. Test code. And I've protected this spreadsheet. So what it means is that if I send a spreadsheet to anybody without that password test code, you cannot change anything on this spreadsheet. So like tomatoes, I want to type on it. Look at that. It will come up with the cell or chart you're trying to change is protected. So to actually make a change on this spreadsheet, you have to unprotect it. And the only way you can unprotect it is using that password. The disadvantage of this is that without that password, you can't use this spreadsheet. So if you protect the sheet and you forget the password, then you can't do anything with that sheet anymore. You cannot change it. So you always have to use a password that you would remember. So to unprotect it, so I will click on unprotect sheet and then put the password. And then I can actually edit this. So that's protecting the sheet. A workbook, on the other hand, is protecting the old workbook. So this is a sheet. You can see this is sheet 1. If we have different sheets, then this is a workbook. So you can protect all the sheets. So what we did just now was just protecting sheet 1. To protect the workbook, it will protect everything. So we have to like put a password, and it will protect the structure of the workbook. So that's it. That's cool. Yeah. It works similar way. Just put a password and you protect the workbook. And when you want to unprotect it, you have to just use the password to unlock it. So this workbook has like different sheets. So we have sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. So sheet 1, we can actually rename this. We can rename this sheet 1 to whatever we want. So if you right click on it, it gives you some options. So we can either insert a sheet, we can delete it, we can rename it, we can move it or copy it. View code, I'm not sure what that is. We can protect the sheet, we can change the tab color, and we can hide it. And we can also select the sheet. So in this case, I want to rename it. So let's rename it Tesco. If I want to change the tab color, and I want to change it to like green, and then the tab changes to green. This next shade, I don't want this auto sheet anymore. If I can delete it, and then it goes. I have sheet 3. I can right click on sheet 3 and insert it, and it will ask me what I want to insert. So that's a worksheet, and that is okay. So I have a sheet 4. I can decide to hide this sheet 4. I want it there, but I don't want to see it. So if you click on hide, it hides it, and it's actually there. If you right click, you can unhide, and then it shows you all the sheets that are hiding. So you can click on the one you want to unhide. So in this case, it's just sheet 4 that is hiding, and then OK. If you have a lot of tabs, and sometimes you have as many as you can have, loads of tabs, and you want to get to them quickly, because when you have a lot of tabs, this is the limit. You can pull this, and then you see more tabs. But you won't be able to see everything all at once. So you can right click on this big area just before the tabs. If you right click, you see a list of all your tabs, all your sheets. And then you can click on any one, and then it takes you, and it takes you to that sheet. So in this case, we're on sheet 3. We right click here, I click on Tesco, OK, and we're back on Tesco. And you can use this button to add more sheets to it, and to select more than one sheet. So you can click on one. You can either use your control button. So if you press your control button down and click, then you can select all of them. If you have a long list of tabs and you want to select maybe from the first to the last, you use your shift button. So if you click on sheet 4 and you press your shift button down, if you click on sheet 3, it selects everything up to sheet 3. So that's how you select a lot of tabs. And what else can we do? Yeah, we can protect sheet from here. We can change tab color. Okay. So our view button, we can actually use it to view grid lines. If you want to see the page break, so that's normal. This is our page break, which was the shortcut that we have down here as well. And then we have the page layout, which is gives you this view. I'll go back to normal. So we might want to see grid lines. Then you put back. So if we don't want to see grid lines, if you unselect the grid lines, it gives a blank page. Sometimes good if you don't want the busy grid lines. And if you click back on it, you have the grid lines. So if you want the formula bar, if you don't want the formula bar, you unselect this and the formula bar. So this is the formula. The formula bar is down here. No, sorry, the formula bar is the one up here. That's where we're saying so that's the formula bar. But I don't know, I don't have any reason to hide the formula bar. So that's the formula bar. That's the zoom. You just say when you zoom, it zooms in. You want to zoom in selection. You want a new window. Like if you have different spreadsheets open, you can have two windows. Where's my view? So you have those two windows open. So that would copy, yeah. So you can work in different places at the same time. If you want to freeze this freeze pane, so if you have a lot of data, then let me duplicate this. So we have a lot of data, and you want to, if you notice, when you're looking down, you can't actually see the heading of this anymore. So that's where freeze panes comes into play. So I want to always see this heading here. I can freeze the pane, so I can freeze that heading, so that when I scroll down, that heading will always be visible. So if you go to freeze pane, you can either freeze the top row. So this one will freeze row, it will freeze top row and column, and then the other places will row. So if I click on this, it will freeze this and it will freeze the tomatoes and the pepper. So if I scroll, let me just delete this. I'm going to unfreeze pane. So if I go to freeze panes and freeze this, so you can see that it freezes it. You know why it's doing it? Let me unfreeze it. It will freeze it where you have selected. So this is my selection. So you have to select the cell first and then freeze paint, and it freezes it where you have selected. So in this case, it's frozen the top, that's the Tesco quantity and price, and frozen this column A as well. And to undo that, all you need to do is go to freeze paint and unfreeze, and then it's free. You can decide to unfreeze only the column, and that will be this selection here. So freeze first column, it will freeze only A. And when you scroll, you won't see the quantity, but when you scroll to the right, the column A is frozen. You can freeze top row. So it freezes the top row. However, when you scroll to the side, you won't see the first column. So it depends on what you're doing. You can use either of these buttons. So I would unfreeze this. And then you have your help button, which is always good, because on the help you can actually see, you can actually get help on anything at all. And then just type it in and it shows you how to do it. So where are we? So we've gone through the home. Let's see what we have gone through. There are some shortcuts on Excel that are good to know. For instance, I want to know how many times I want to all the tomatoes I've typed in here, I want to change them to biscuit, for instance. But I don't want to over type biscuit on every tomato. So I can use the find button. I can use the control find, which is if you press your control down, So it's Control and F. So if you press this down, it will ask you, what do you want to find? So I want to find tomatoes. So I want to find tomatoes. If you click on Find Next, it will start going to every. So if you see, you can see that it's going to every tomato that I have on the spreadsheet. So it will keep finding that word tomatoes. And when it gets to the end, it will go back to the beginning and continue to find it. In this case, I want to change my tomatoes to something else. I want to change it to chocolate, for instance. So what I'm saying is find tomatoes and replace with chocolate. So everywhere you find tomatoes, replace with chocolate. I can do, if you click on replace, it will replace it, replacing it one by one. So you can do replace, and it will replace it one by one. You replace the first one, you move to the next one. You can use that if you don't want to replace everything, you just want to replace some of them. But if you want to replace all the tomatoes here with chocolate, you would pick the replace all. So if you click on replace all, it will replace every tomato, it will change it to chocolate. And it would say, it will tell you how many replacements is done. So all done, we made 3 replacements, okay. And close. So you can see that there's no tomatoes there anymore. It's now all chocolate. And this is good. Like if a name changes on a big spreadsheet and you want to change the name or the name, so you can just use that, and then it changes every single thing on it. So that's just the basic Excel. And next week we're going to be looking at some formulas, and we're going to be looking at charts next week. We're going to be looking at pivot tables next week. So we're going to be going to like more in depth into data analysis and the main uses of Excel. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, please, if you can type them. So if you have any questions, you can actually send a message, and I'll try as much as possible to answer your questions. I hope this has been useful. I appreciate it's quite basic, but I understand some people don't even use Excel at all. So this is just like introduction to what Excel can actually do. Thanks for logging in, and see you next